Welcome back. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. This is a custom rifle that I built. I have lots of hobbies, obviously, but I'm just going to run you through the rifle here, top to bottom. Right at the top here, the scope, it's a VX3 Leupold, 2.8 to 8 power. And I don't like the real heavy scopes that everybody uses nowadays. Everybody wants to pretend they're a sniper and when they go hunting and shoot at 1,000 yards or whatever. I don't do any of that. You know, my shots will be under 350. I think that's ethical, and that's how I roll. The rings, they're a Burris signature ring, I believe. They have a plastic insert inside of them, and it allows some movement in there. That way you don't need to lap your rings or anything, and you'll never have any ring marks on your scope. Bases are just worn steel bases. Now let's get to the good stuff. The action's a Husqvarna HVA 1600 or 1640 action. And some people confuse it with other actions that Husqvarna made, because Husqvarna customized Mausers for a long time early on. And they also had a push feed model later on, but this is the HVA 1600 or 1640 action. It's very closely related to the Mauser. As far as I know, it's supposed to have better steel. You'll notice the front ring is a little bit smaller than a Mauser 98. So basically it's a Mauser 98 that has some weight taken off of it and a few little smart features on it. I'm going to pull a bolt out of here, and the only real quirk on these, I'm going to flip it right around as well, is that bolt release. It's easy to do with two hands, but with one hand it's challenging. You can see it right here. So basically you have to hold it down, and I'm just going to put the camera down for a second because I can't do this otherwise, I don't think. Now we have it out. So you'll notice it has the Mauser claw extractor and control round feed and all that good stuff. This one came from a rather fancy rifle. It did have jeweling on the bolt and everything else. But I can go into the details of the action some other time. But it's like a Mauser, but it has better features on it for hunting purposes. The safety's over here, which Mauser doesn't have. That bolt release is there. The small ring. The floor plate on this one, it's lightweight, but it's all steel. And it has the release right here. I like it because it's all steel. There's no aluminum parts in this thing whatsoever. And it's supposed to be tough as nails. And I've been really impressed with these type of rifles for a long time. I've had quite a few of these over the years. But this action, I was gonna Cerakote it, but it's not in bad shape, and it has, well, it's kind of a purple hue to it. You may not see it in the camera because of the lighting, but I think it's absolutely beautiful the way it is, and it contrasts the rest of the rifle because the rest of the rifle here is new. So I left that alone. I'm thinking I'm not going to change any of that. Let's talk about the barrel. And you'll notice I put some tape here. I have some custom markings on my barrel. The serial number you can't see. I don't want to have anybody online recording my serial number and special markings I have on the barrel. But this barrel was made by a company in Edmonton, Alberta called K&S Arms. Had to think about that for a second. 270 Winchester. I did a 1 in 9 twist on this instead of a 1 in 10. And I can go into the reasons for that another time. But again, that's a very custom feature. You won't find a factory rifle with that twist rate. I had a target crown put on it. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it looks pretty groovy. It's 24 inches long. The profile on it, it's a hunter profile. I think they call it number 2. I'm going to talk about this trigger. This trigger came out from, I think, Illinois. A fellow named Ron Hubbard. Yeah. And he makes these. And basically, it's a Mauser style trigger for the Husqvarnas that pivots on a ball bearing. And I tell you, this makes a giant difference. I don't like super light triggers, and this one here I guess is around 3 pounds or 3.5 maybe. I like it, but it's so crisp. You would never expect a Mauser style trigger to be like this. It's not one of the box triggers. It's just, you know, the old-fashioned lever basically. Highly recommended. Look him up because he's got good parts, and I will definitely buy from him again. Now, the challenging part on this build here was the stock. That basic stock, just a blank, is a carbon fiber fiberglass type stock that came from a place called Wildcat Stocks, based out of Sherwood Park, Alberta. And it's made for a Mauser. So it kind of fit, maybe 70%. And then I had to make the rest fit, which was a big chore because all that stock really is a carbon fiber shell over top of styrofoam or foam. So every time you modify, it'll break through and you have to rebuild the thing. So it took a lot of time to get this right. But I did. It's bedded perfectly. The barrel's free floated. I'll show you that in a second. I got the swivel studs in here, and you'll notice, well, you won't notice this, but he's got an aluminum insert inside of here to thread into. On top of that, I put a nut on the back of this, so that's super strong. The back just has the aluminum insert. Another challenging aspect to this build is getting a recoil pad on there. I'm gonna flip it over. My cameraman's horrible, isn't he? But there you go. It's a Packmeyer recoil pad, and this is made for shotguns. I believe it's for a trap gun, and I like the shape. It doesn't need to be super soft. It's only a 270, but a little bit of comfort is good. But the feature I really like on this is this plastic insert on top here. So when you go to shoulder it in the woods or whatever, it's not gonna be grabbing onto your clothes like a typical rubber one would. It's very slippery on top here, yet this has a little bit of texture. So that's why I went with that, and I'm very happy. But again, all this is carbon fiber shell with foam on the inside. Getting the recoil pad to sit on there is quite an endeavor. But it's super strong, super light. As a matter of fact, this gun is so light that the front of the barrel, it's front heavy because of that. In retrospect, I'd probably do a wood stock just to get more weight in the back end of this. But that's what it is. But let's give you an overview here. You can see the barrel is free floated. May not look like it in the pictures here, but it's perfectly even. And, spent a lot of time on her. The paint on this, it's I put a texture down, and I painted that with Duracoat. And I like Duracoat. I've used Duracoat quite a few things over the years, and it's held up well. I've even used it, you know, on a disgusting looking carburetor that can never be, you know, refinished properly. I painted that one with Duracoat once, and it holds up to gasoline perfectly. It'll never come off. You'd have to sandblast the damn thing off of there. So if anybody ever wants to paint a carburetor, maybe you can get something that matches, you know, that zinc coating they have on there or something like that. That Duracoat stuff works really good. But here's a few more views of it. And this is the bolt again. Again, just pretty much a typical Mauser style bolt with a few modifications from the factory. But that's my custom 270 hunting rifle. Take care.